Thinking about buying a franchise? Then the How to Buy a Franchise show is just for you. Here's your host, Dr. John Hayes.
Hi, I'm John Hayes. Welcome to the How to Buy a Franchise show. I blog at howtobuyfranchise.com. And today I am talking to Dallas Kerley, Chief Development Officer at Benetrends. Benetrends has been around for a long time.
Since 1983.
Yeah, so tell us what you do at Benetrends.
Sure, at Benetrends we work with a variety of different funding solutions to help franchisees get the funding they need to purchase a business or a franchise.
So I want to buy a franchise and I don't have the money to do it. I've got some, but not enough. I come to Benetrends.
Right, that's where we come in and help.
So what's the most the most common challenge that you're facing with prospective franchisees? They're coming to you, they don't have enough money, or they're not fundable. You can't finance them because they have this problem or that problem, or what are the challenges that you face?
Sure, I would say education is probably the biggest thing to overcome. Almost everybody's familiar with home equity loans to buy a business, SBA loans. We were also pioneers in something called 401k rollover or ROBS funding. And while we know it in the franchise industry, on Main Street many people aren't familiar with that. Yeah. So Americans have a great deal of their wealth tied up in retirement plans such as IRAs, 401ks. And when they're looking to purchase a business, they may not have the money in their checking or savings accounts, but they may be sitting on a substantial amount of money in those retirement plans. So we help them access those funds.
And is the 401k rollover your most popular product? Is that what you do mostly?
It is. We do a substantial SBA business as well, but we're kind of the Kleenex of the rollover business, and most people know Benetrends as providing the expertise for that rollover.
Yeah. So the 401k rollover, let's talk about that a little bit. This is a legitimate way to fund a new business startup, a new business opportunity, using your retirement account. Now, some people would say, I would never do that. And that's fine. You got to respect that opinion, right?
Right.
But other people would say, I could take my retirement money, and I could invest that money in myself, in my own business, in my future. And if you feel confident about the franchise opportunity that you're going to invest in, it probably makes sense to a lot of people.
Absolutely. It's a terrific way to diversify your investment portfolio. So rather than having 100% of your retirement funds invested in the stock market or bonds, you can invest a portion of it in your own business and the remaining amount in those traditional investments.
Yeah. So if I've got a retirement fund of $1 million and I need $420,000 to start a new franchise, I could take $420,000 out of my retirement fund and invest it into my franchise.
Exactly.
Yes, and I'm not going to be penalized for doing this,
Correct. If you do it improperly and you just withdraw the money,
right,
then
that's a problem. Right.
Typically a 10% penalty for early withdrawal,
yes,
as well as state and federal income tax. The structure that we create allows you to access those funds tax deferred and penalty free, so you can utilize that entire amount.
Yes, so you could take your $420,000 out of your retirement fund. You would use that as the seed money to buy stock in your own company. You own the stock in your own company. And you're not penalized by the government, providing you follow the very stringent regulations. This is where people get in trouble. They think they can do this on their own, so they don't follow the regulations, or they don't maintain. There's some things you have to do every year.
Right, the plan name needs to remain compliant. So the IRS and the Department of Labor want to make sure that the structure that's created is compliant with the regulations and the code of the IRS. So this is, as they say on the stunt shows, don't try this at home.
Yeah.
You definitely want to work with an expert in this field.
Yes, and how often is this, how many 401k rollovers do you do per week or per month or per year, however you want to tell me?
Do more than 1,000 a year.
Okay.
Industry-wide, nearly 20% of the franchises sold in the country utilize this as part of the funding strategy.
So about a fifth of the people who buy franchises are looking at using a rollover strategy.
Right. Okay. Some of them are using it entirely to purchase the entire amount with their retirement funds. Others are utilizing it as a cash injection for an SBA loan.
Okay. So if I need $420,000 to open my franchise, I don't want to use all $420,000 of my retirement fund. I want to roll over only $100,000 of my retirement fund or $150,000 of my retirement fund and use that as a basis to go get an SBA loan?
Correct. If somebody's looking and needing a 30% cash injection for an SBA loan on a $400,000 concept, that $120,000 they may not have in their checking or savings account, but they may have it in an IRA or 401k.
Okay. And you still do a rollover at that case? You're still not penalized? And
correct.
I don't have to take it out and pay the penalties?
That's right.
Okay, wonderful. So how many rollovers compared to SBA loans? How many of those do you do?
You know, in our business at Benetrends, the majority of our business is the rollover business, but we typically see probably 40% of our SBA loans involve a rollover in conjunction with that SBA loan.
Okay.
I was speaking with a banker last week, and she was saying statistically the loans that she works with are about the same.
Okay. And how long does it take to do a rollover?
Typically 10 to 15 business days, depending on how quickly we can get you incorporated and where the current retirement plan is custody.
And then if I do an SBA loan in addition to the rollover, more time or about the same time?
More time for an SBA loan, depending on the dollar amount, whether it's the $50,000 to $150,000 program. That's typically 30 to 45 days. When you get into the larger loans, they typically take a bit longer.
How much is it going to cost me to use your services?
Sure. For the rollover, it's just under $5,000, $49.95, and that does include all the necessary incorporation process, the legal documentation to create that retirement plan. Essentially everything to get you started, roll over the funds, and get your business funded.
Okay. And is there an ongoing fee every year to maintain the?
Yes, there is a fee that involves maintaining the plan, keeping it compliant with the IRS and Department of Labor regulations, filing the 5500, doing the end of the year business valuation, participant eligibility testing. And that's $1,560 a year, which we bill monthly at $130 a month.
Okay. And if I do an SBA loan, what's that cost me to use Benetrends?
Depending on the size of the loan, from $1,500 to $3,500. And for those fees, we do guarantee an approval or we will refund the entire amount of money.
Okay, great. So you've been seeing a lot of people. You come to shows like the Franchise Expo in Dallas. You would be in the International Franchise Expo, the Los Angeles Expo, West Coast Franchise Expo. Do you do a lot of other shows as well? Is this where you meet most of your clientele?
We do meet a significant portion of our business here at these shows, but also we have a pretty robust referral network working with existing franchisors as well as franchise brokers who are familiar with our concept.
So it's not unusual for a franchisor to refer a prospect to Benetrends. They know that this prospect is going to need financing to get into the franchise, and they know that this is a good candidate for you.
Absolutely. They rely on us to develop that funding package to help them buy their first unit or their first 3 units and really structure a funding program that makes the most sense and keeps the client the best chances for success.
Yeah, great. So we've been talking to Benetrends. This is an opportunity for you to leverage cash that you already have in your retirement fund and invest that money in your own business, your own future, to help you become your own boss and build wealth on your own through a franchise. If you find a franchise that you're really wild about, passionate about, and you feel confident about investing in that franchise, but you need some additional money, you might be able to get those funds through a 401k rollover, which we've been talking about with Benetrends, or you may be able to use some of that money to leverage a SBA guaranteed loan. This is John Hayes with the How to Buy a Franchise Show.
Thank you for listening to How to Buy a Franchise Show. If you want immediate assistance, visit howtobuyafranchise.com to contact Dr. John Hayes for a free consultation.